thinking about how you think and making you reflect and strategize and decide what to put and what to focus on. And so for you, how did that play out? Because you're saying you got a tenfold increase in clarity, which is a phenomenal statement to say. So explain that more to me, please.
Because there are so many things on your plate as a solo practitioner, wherever you are in your journey, and especially, I think, in the beginning of your journey as a solo practice, because you're learning so much more about running a business that you don't pick up in law school and you don't pick up if you're an associate. So you've got that learning curve to climb and you're wanting to give the best that you've got to give to your clients. There's just a lot. There's a lot. And you have to be able to prioritize and identify what you need to be working on. So just having simple, okay, these are the three things that I'm going to try to get done today. So I can put everything else on the shelf and focus on one thing and knowing that, all right, I don't have to try to keep all that in my head or it's not tucked over here or tucked over there. It's one place and I don't have to worry. It's going to be there waiting for me. And so I can 100% focus on the task at hand. And my office, we celebrate check marks. You hear it down the hall, hey, another check mark, because we got it done.
Yeah, I got it. So let's stay here just for a minute. And I'm going to, while everyone's listening, I'm going to first thank you for what you shared because it was incredibly important. I know it doesn't sound like it, but it is incredibly important because really, if you're trying to build that great life and you're trying to build that great practice, you have to take a moment and decide that morning, what are the most important things for me to focus on? And the reason we chose three was based on research done by the author Peter Drucker from his book, from his book, it came out in the 60s, called The Effective Executive. And he studied executives at GM. And he said the most highest performing executives focused on the three highest impactful things a day. And so when we studied how to design this process, we chose three based on Drucker's work. Like these are the top three things to focus on today. And Drucker said these were the things. So what you have to do is just take all that stuff, all that noise, all the radar, everything that's happening. And like you said, the whack-a-mole, you got to say, okay, but today would be a great day if I do these three things. So for you, the exercise plus the clarity of completing the Migrate Life Focus daily is where you got the tenfold clarity. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so let me interrupt you just for a second because you're describing probably two things that every single trial lawyer, or every single lawyer, or every single team member does when they're stressed, which is sleep less, skip exercise. So let me talk for a moment with you about sleep. So my understanding is great sleep hygiene means going to bed at the same time, getting up at the same time. Is that fair? Is that a fair statement?
And it's also getting your body ready to go to sleep. So people develop bad habits. They just go into bed, but they haven't wound themselves down. So they lay in bed for 2 hours, continuing to think. So what's your sleep hygiene? That's how do you get ready? That's the important habit of having good sleep. You can miss an hour or two one way or the other, but it's that pattern for your body. So your rhythm takes you to sleep. People forget that.
It's probably it's a simple thing, but you're really nailing it. I always try to argue between practicing in a state of burnout is not the best place for you to be, and it's not the best place for your clients to be. Really trying to practice in a position of peak performance, which is a strategy, more or less, and beginning with what you said, sleep hygiene, nutrition, and exercise. So talk to me a little bit more about this because I'm loving everything you're saying. I'm also feeling very kind of guilty, like you're following me around a little bit. So talk to me more about this.
So when we talk about our routines, most people give up their routines when they're under stress. So you have to be, that's that mindfulness. Okay, I'm getting ready to go into a trial mode. I've got a lot of prep that I need to do. Make sure your schedule allows for that in the normal course of your practice, not cramming 3 days before a 2 day hearing. That cramming is what we used to do in college and graduate school because we didn't know better. We know better now. So it's about being organized, having support staff. I always feel bad when a solo practitioner or a small firm doesn't have that support. So they take that on for a 12 or 14-hour day before trial and then try to go to an 8-hour trial. Trial work is not the same as in-office work. You have that adrenaline rush, but again, you only get so much of it. So by the end, after lunch, you're going to feel yourself wind down very quickly, and your mind is not going to be as clear. So the three basics are sleep, eat, and exercise. Then we throw in something else. Do not drink alcohol during a trial prep or trial. Alcohol tends to be a coping mechanism that we use to calm down and relax. It's not good. It actually has a counter effect on us, and we're less effective if we're drinking during a trial, even if we think it's good for us so we can go to sleep. Actually, the studies say drinking alcohol or wine before going to bed actually is disruptive to your sleep. You'll wake up more and your quality of sleep is poor.
One of the terms that you've used about the plane crash is the term forced exile. What does that mean?
So exile is a term that I have learned since that, but it is a total removal from the practice, whether that's planned or whether that is unplanned. In my case, at that point, it was unplanned, but it's actually an exercise that we do now where we plan for, okay, Glenn's going to be gone for these 10 days. And when he's gone for these 10 days, the rules are you can't contact him. You got to make decisions while he's gone. There can't be things that are just lingering out there for when he comes back, and the office has to continue to operate the way that it does now. So when it's planned, it's more of preparing for the unplanned, I guess, and we had never taken that on before we had to. But it's an exercise that I found to be very valuable because it shows us, the weak points of that. If I'm gone and something isn't getting done the way that it needs to be done, we can see, okay, why? What do we need to do? What do we need to change to make sure that that's not the case? If the file needs to be given to another attorney in the office so that they can deal with the issue that's arisen while I'm gone. How are we doing that? Are we doing that appropriately? And, is our revenue continuing to generate as well so that, it helps the person that's been exiled so that they can have a break, which I never took before that. Not really. It was always quote unquote vacation, but the email was still on, the phone was still on, that type of thing. So you're never really taking a true break. But with the exile, you get that true break. The office isn't bothering you. The clients aren't bothering you. You have to, I have to work at that. That's difficult for the first 3 or 4 days to really disconnect.
But it's incredibly difficult for the first couple of days. Why is it important to the business that you put yourself in an exile position? Like, why is it important to the business? What's it do for the business?
So, one of the main things that we do is estate planning. That's planning for the ultimate demise. I mean, we're all at some point going to die. And whether that's today or 50 years from now, part of our professional work is planning for that. And all too often, I have seen solo and small firms that just go into crisis when something unexpected happens to the main lawyer in the firm. And I think that exile process helps with trying to build something that's going to be perpetual and continue on, even if I don't, or somebody else in the organization doesn't. I'm talking about me mainly, but we're going to try to do it for other positions as well, because all of them are important, and we want to make sure there's no gaps if something happened to somebody else either. But making that organization bigger than just one person is not only beneficial to us, but it's going to be really beneficial to the people that we serve, because the firm's still going to be there for the clients, even if I go away or somebody else goes away.